I just did some maintenance on the old Tacoma. Kind of go through some stuff with you guys here. All right, I did an oil change. You see I spilled a little bit. Dang, got a bunch of funnels and still freaking spilling oil all over the place, but oh well. All right, did an oil change. This pickup before, whatever, I bought it from my uncle. He always went to Super Lube, you know, just had them do it. And me, I'm not really a big fan of those Super Lube places because they kind of buy pretty cheap stuff. Service Champ, you know. Not sure who makes Service Champ. I might look it up, but I'm pretty sure that's not really a great filter, which I watched that Project Farm guy. If you haven't seen him, go check it out. He does all kinds of reviews on, I mean, everything you could think of, from electric chainsaws to oil filters to freaking what you can run a lawnmower on. I mean, the guy does all kinds of cool videos, so I'll give him a shout out. Project Farm, super thorough test guy. And I watched him do a freaking kind of a thing on oil filters, and my conclusion, his conclusion as well, whatever, was kind of a Wix and Napa filters are just phenomenal. I mean, it's good to get the Toyota filters, whatever, but Napa, I guarantee, or Wix is just as good, if not maybe a little bit better. So I like to run Napa oil filters. And another thing, I'm a big fan of Valvoline oil, which is like freaking expensive. All oil's stupid expensive nowadays. And so I'll go ahead and plug Napa here, but Napa 1030, which they say you're supposed to run 530, but kind of I don't know. I've been running 1030 and everything forever, besides diesels, whatever, so it's hard for me to switch over to 530 when I could just run everything on 1030. It doesn't hurt anything. I mean, and not only that, but hotter climates, it's probably better, whatever, which I live in a pretty moderate climate to where it gets warm, it gets cold. So sure, it's probably better to run 530 if you have a bunch of vehicles, whatever, kind of like I do. And most of them are 530. I just advise getting 530 instead of 1030, but whatever, I'm hard-headed. Been running 1030 forever, so I'm keep on doing it. But look at this right here, developed by Valvoline. This Napa multi-viscosity 1030 motor oil. So I run Napa oil, Napa filters. I mean, in everything that I got, except the Power Stroke, that 6-liter I've got, whatever, I run Motorcraft filters. I run Napa oil in it, but I'd run Motorcraft oil filters, fuel filters in it, which is stupid expensive, but that thing's got 330,000 miles on her now and doesn't give me any problems. So I'm going to keep on running Ford Motorcraft filters in it. But another thing I want to talk to you guys about is I also inspected the timing belt in this. As you can see, I got oil all over it, whatever. You pull these 4 bolts here, there's 2 down low, 6 bolts all together. You pull this snap ring, kind of set it back. You'll see where I set it here, and you pull this back, you can inspect your timing belt, which, you know, if you go by Toyota's regular maintenance, they say to do it at 93,000 miles, I do believe, whatever, you'll be perfectly fine. But me, I'm kind of a broke bastard, and my water pump is perfectly fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and push my timing belt a little bit, but I figured it was time to inspect it, which I never have. So what I did those bolts, pulled it back, inspected my timing belt. It looks phenomenal. I'm at 150,000 miles on this pickup. So, you know, I was like, all right, if it's cracked up, I'm gonna have to do that, which I'm ready for plugs. Go through and do some plugs and wires on it here shortly. I mean, my wires still all look fine and everything, but 150,000 miles, I'm gonna end up having to do those. I got a kind of a trip planned where I'm more likely gonna take this on, so I kind of want her to be all good. So went through, checked the diffs, you know, and then you check your wheel seals, everything like that. You can kind of just keep an eye on your wheel seals by looking at your wheels, make sure there ain't any oil on there, which these first gen Tacomas don't have as much of a problem as the second gen Tacomas or the Tundras for some reason. Notice that through experience. But checked my diffs, transfer case, transmission, all that, whatever, which I actually did those when this thing broke 100,000, which, like I said before, I'm at 150 now. So I decided to kind of go through it a little bit and, you know, just check out everything on these Tacomas. You got to make sure and check the frame pretty thoroughly, whatever, if you start to develop a little bit too much rust, because these frames you got to keep an eye on. You want to make sure, clean it off and freaking lay some paint on it, you know, which I've went through and done again since my uncle did, because he went through and completely did it, took the bed off and went all through cleaning the frame up, because once he moved up here to Oregon, he decided to go beach bashing a little heavy, until finally whatever he was, actually I'm pretty sure I told him, I was like, dude, you know, make sure and clean that off every time, you know, and stuff. And then he's like, it is getting pretty rusty. So he went through and he did a bunch of stuff, coated the frame. But when I bought it, it was ready to do again. So I went through and have done it once. And right then when I had it up in the air or whatever, I noticed a couple spots and wire brushed it and hit some rust paint on it. And my exhaust is pretty bad on this thing. There's quite a bit, like the flanges are pretty freaking rusty. It'd be nice to actually just go through and redo my exhaust altogether, which is not out of the question. I'm gonna end up keeping this thing for freaking ever, so might as well keep her ship shape. And I am not 100% sure when I need to change my coolant. And when I do, I'll make sure and use the red stuff, whatever. When you do coolant on a Toyota, for some reason, they want you to run the red coolant. I think something to do with the head gaskets. They do a lot better. Don't go putting green stuff in a Toyota. Make sure and put red. Or at least pink. No, don't use pink. Use red. Use the right stuff. I think it's Asen, it's something like that. So figured I might as well snap out a quick one for you guys. Just talk to you a little bit about maintenance on your rig. And so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure all my tires are up to PSI, whatever, which I'm just running 35 in them. Not because these are 10-ply tires, they call for 60 pounds, but who runs 60 pounds in a freaking Toyota? So I'll run 35 in them. And then like this one here, this one's bagged down probably about 18 pounds, I bet, in that. Makes me want to pull out my gauge and check real quick if I'm close or not. If it's 18, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but yeah, it's pretty cool to have one of these little things here. You turn it on, you gotta push a button. Boom. 0 zeros. Oh wow. You can't see that. Well, yeah, it's. Oh, I got cut off. Yeah, 13.5. Yeah, I definitely need to put some air in them. These being 10 plies, they don't really go down much. They're pretty rigid tires, but I wanted 10 plies because I go driving through rocks and stuff, and don't want to puncture anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some air in the tire. Call her good. Maybe even give her a bath. Give her the onion. That's what I'm gonna go do. All right, thanks for watching. Stay freaking awesome.